So, welcome to a sneak peek at one of our workshops from the AEE International Conference this October in Minneapolis. We're here with Christian Moore from Why Try, and we're excited to get, like I said, a sneak peek at his workshop, 10 Strategies Proven to Inspire and Engage Every Student. Christian is from an organization called Why Try, an amazing program working to improve social and emotional skills with K through 12 students all over the world. They've worked with over 2 million youth in 20,000 different schools. And we're excited to have Christian here today to give us a little peek at his workshop.
All right. I'm excited in October to be at the AEE conference. I'm a huge fan of experiential learning. I've been teaching experiential learning for the past 18 years all across the country. So I'm a huge fan of this organization and the great work that you guys do. I always like to start out by sharing my most embarrassing moment in life when I speak, because I'm always a little nervous for the first 2 or 3 minutes, but I'm not nervous once I share my most embarrassing experience. It actually happened in the first 2 years of my life. When I was born, my mom thought I was the cutest baby boy in the whole world. So she put me in a baby contest, and it wasn't just any baby contest. It covered all of LA County, all the way down to San Diego. My mom told all her friends, all her girlfriends, Christian will win first place in this contest, just to illustrate my cuteness here as a child. If you're a little boy with curly hair, most moms let your hair grow out. So this long curly hair, she puts me in the contest. The day of it, luckily, she's too ill to take me, but knows I need to go. So she decides to have her brother, my uncle, take me. And he's kind of a comedian, and I have a sister 1.5 years older than me, and he put a pink ribbon in my hair, and then he put me in my sister's pink dress, and I won first place as the cutest baby girl in all of Southern California. So that was kind of one of my early intros to the need for resilience. When you start out life like that, you need to learn resilience. That's probably why I spent the last 18 years of my life really dedicated to the cause of resilience. I want to give you a little background here on my own life story and how I became interested in resilience. Usually, resilience is the ability to bounce back from a difficult situation, from a challenge in life. And, you have to be resilient. You have to have the key ingredient in being resilient is some type of opposition, some type of difficulty. And so I'd like to share with you a little bit about some of the difficulties early in my life. Now I'm gonna give you a Reader's Digest version because I'm in person. We'll go into more depth about it. But I grew up in between DC and Baltimore in a family of 12 kids. I'm the 8th child, 5 brothers, 6 sisters. My mom had social phobia, generalized anxiety disorder, had a fear of leaving the house. My dad was a GS-16 code breaker at NSA who was autistic. And because of both my parents' mental health issues, I was a street kid. I could stay out till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on a school night. I'd hang out with kids my own age till 5, 6 o'clock at night. And then I'd run around oftentimes with the older kids. The older kids quickly introduced me to the urban pharmaceutical industry. The older kids oftentimes would put all the drugs on me because I was a cute little white kid with curly hair and dimples. And so they knew I was likely not to be checked. One night I was out late at night and a car pulled up and the windows on the car slowly rolled down. I hear a voice. I take off to run. And I hear this voice of this woman right here, whose name I endearingly call Mama Jackson. And you can see who I am there in the picture. I'm the kid there on your left. They're my Washington Redskins Sears catalog coat there. And Mama Jackson kind of took over and helped raise me, kind of an informal foster care situation. Also, at this time in my life, I'm a special education student. I don't know what 9 times 6 is. I don't know how to tell time on a hand clock. To me, 4:45 equals 25 minutes to 5, but they tell me a quarter is 15. So I'm a special ed student. I'm struggling in school. Luckily, Mama Jackson comes into my life, and it's kind of an informal foster care situation. She takes over and helps raise me. Well, long story short, through her advocacy and some miracles, I was able to make it through college with a 6th grade math level, a 7th grade reading writing level. And professor came to me in college and said, Christian, do me a favor, tell me, write down for me on a piece of paper, how did you make it this far in school with your background, with your learning disabilities? And this kind of became the start of Why Try. I wrote down a few principles on a piece of paper. I wrote down, I had to stop crashing. I had to realize my decisions had consequences. And you're going to notice what I'm about to share with you is all visual. And it's because one day a school psychologist showed me that 80% of the kids I'm working with are visual learners. But I spent most of my time, in school learning how to do cognitive talk intervention. I'm a clinical social worker, and most of my training was in more verbal type of intervention. And when the school psychologist showed me their visual, I said, okay, I'm going to try to take everything in mental health and kind of put it into visual pictures for kids, and then reinforce it with music they listen to, physical activities. And so this first picture here just talks to kids about their decisions having consequences. You see the roller coaster kind of starts out, it goes uphill, it comes down and crashes. The loop kind of represents the problems. They keep doing it over and over again. And then on that red track there, we show them how to get on that track to opportunity, freedom, self-respect. And the reason why the organization is called the Why Try organization is we believe that's the answer to the question, why try? If you try in life, you can get more opportunity in life, you can get more freedom, you can get more self-respect. Often when we first work with youth, they're standing right here next to this wall. All they can see is maybe failure, drugs, anger, fighting. Who cares? I can't, different family, academic problems. They have a hard time answering the question, why try? When I first became a therapist, I would ask kids, why should you turn in your homework, stay in school, make better decisions, put effort into life? And a lot of kids would say to me, I don't know. I don't know the answer to the question, why try? And I was like, oh man, I want to make sure they know if they try in life, they can get more opportunity, freedom, self-respect. And our goal was, how do we put opportunity, freedom, self-respect in a language that's relevant to these kids? We believe relevancy is such an important thing. So what I'm going to kind of be showing you now is how to make, social and emotional skills relevant to these kids, especially kids are very disengaged from the academic process and are really struggling, don't have a lot of hope in life. And so in my own life, I definitely had to realize my decisions had consequences. I had to stop crashing right here on this roller coaster. And the rest of the program is just kind of show them step by step how to get on this track right here to opportunity, freedom, self-respect, and answer that question, why try? So the first thing we want the youth to do to get on this track right here, the child to do to get on this track, is to tear off their labels. Oftentimes they have many of these labels right here, failure, druggie, learning disabled, dumb, lazy, rebellious, attitude problem. And so we want them to focus on what's right with them. We want them to figure out what the real me is, and to focus on what's right with them, not what's wrong with them. A challenge I give to kids is, when you go to bed at night, I want you to lay in bed tonight and focus on, what did you do right today? How can you do more of that tomorrow? So we want them to tear off their labels. We want them to learn how to control their defense mechanisms. When I was in school, the teacher would say, Christian, turn to page 130 and read out loud. I didn't know how to read. So I'd swear at the teacher, punch the kid next to me, because I'd much rather be sent to the principal's office for acting out behaviorally than having 30 kids falling out of their chair laughing at me because I don't know how to read. Now I realized, why was I doing that? It's because I had no control over my defense mechanisms. This next picture here is a tribute to my home state of Maryland. I'll say, if you put a bunch of live crabs in a pot, if you don't put a lid on the pot, why can't the crabs get out of the pot? And the kids will usually say, well, duh, the other crabs are reaching up and pulling them down. So I'll say, hey, your friends you're skipping school with, you're doing drugs with, fighting with, all you're doing is you're pulling each other down. You're keeping each other in the pot. That misery loves company. And then you can see every question that the teacher, the counselor asks the student is written around the visual metaphor here. Like what are the reasons for staying in the pot? If there's a lot of reasons for staying in the pot. If you're in a gang, that gang gives you protection, it gives you money, it gives you prestige. It acts as a surrogate family. So, what will my future be like when I climb out of this pot? Warning there at the bottom. If you try to get out of this pot, you will be attacked. We talk about the reality if they try to walk away from the gang or the drugs, the violence, what happens there. The next picture here is a simple problem solving model, jumping your hurdles. We have the student writing whatever challenge or problem they're dealing with there on the hurdle. And then we walk them through these 6 steps on how to get over the hurdle, where they have to identify the problem, create options, get help, take action, believe in change, jump back up. This next one's kind of interesting. I spent most of my time in school drawing mazes because oftentimes I had no clue what the teachers were doing. And it takes them like 20 minutes to get through this maze. I'll say, to get through this maze, you had to have the desire to do it. You had to put the time in. You had to put the effort in. It's hard work. I speak to students all the time, and I'll ask them, what will take you further in life, hard work or being smart? And oftentimes they'll say, being smart will take me further in life. And I usually will spend the next half hour or so sharing with them that literally hard work will take you 10 times further than sometimes just academic smarts. They have to lift society's laws and rules. With this one, we'll talk to the youth about the different challenges they have in their life, the different laws and rules that they hate. And I'll say, do you know anything strange about this weightlifter? And they'll say, well, he's buff on one side, he's kind of weak on the other side. And I'll say, when you're pushing up on the weight, what's the weight doing? And the kids will usually say it's going up. And I'll say, is the weight's going up? It's also pushing down. And as you push against that weight, it tears the fibers, tears the cells in the muscle. And that muscle rebuilds. That muscle gets stronger and stronger every time you lift that resistance. And I'll say, look, your weight, your resistance, all these laws and rules from society, at school, from your parents. And as you lift that resistance, you're going to become stronger. The balloon represents skipping school, using drugs, gangbanging, stealing, fighting, running away. There's no resistance from that balloon. If you lift that balloon, you're not going to get stronger. And one of the greatest things is, at the end of the hour after we walked a child through this picture, I'll say, what does this picture teach? And they'll say, man, the reason why I have all F's, the reason why I'm being kicked out of school or classes, I'm not lifting that weight. I'm not lifting that resistance. The next picture here is they've got to get plugged into a support system. When we first work with youth, they often have one or less of these. Our goal is to get plugged into at least 3 of these. A parent or guardian, a positive friend, a teacher, counselor, school official, a positive mentor, or something that inspires or motivates you to do good. If they don't have at least 3 of those, they're 70 times more likely to drop out of school, use drugs, hurt themselves and others. In 2016, we know these kids have got to have access to a really effective social support system. And then the last picture sums it up. Like I say, we're first working with these youth, they're standing here next to this wall. But our goal is they learn how to stop crashing, tear off the labels, and so on. They can get on top of this wall right here. And I shared with you, with each one of these pictures, we reinforce the picture with music and physical activities, experiential learning. And I just want to give you an example of a couple of those. I'm going to share with you one of the metaphors a little bit more in depth, and then I'll play music and show you some experiential stuff as well here. For example, I'm going to do this one right here, tearing off labels. So with this one, we'll walk them through. I'll have them circle any labels that they have right here. I'll say, circle any labels that are that most apply to you. Most kids will circle in the mainstream. They'll circle, maybe 3 to 5. More at-risk kids oftentimes will even do one big circle around all these labels. And then I'll say, okay, what I want to do is I want to focus on what's right with you. Who's the real you? What are your strengths? I give them permission to brag. What do I like about myself? What do others like about you? Your accomplishment, strength, goals, dreams. We fill up this can with their strengths right here. And then I just walk them through these 4 steps right here. Identify, how is your label working for you? Do something different, focus on your strengths, and so on. So we just kind of walk them through those steps there. And then we'll play a song that goes with this to reinforce this. And let me pull this up for you here. Why do we have music in a curriculum like this to reinforce this? There's a study from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and they have found that, this shouldn't probably surprise anybody, that listening to music is students' #1 non-school related activity. 87% of 13 to 17-year-olds report listening to music after school. Adolescents spend between 4 and 5 hours a day listening to and or watching music videos. What's interesting is this current generation is spending 8 to 12 hours a day. If you had social media, Facebook, iTunes, 8 to 12 hours a day engaged with media. And so we developed something called multimedia intervention, just trying to start where this child is and put social and emotional education in a language that's relevant to these kids. American teenagers listen to an estimated 10,500 hours of rock music between the 7th and 12th grades. Just 500 few hours they spend in school over 12 years, and 90% of students report knowing many or all the lyrics of their favorite songs. That's one of the major reasons we use music to reinforce these visual metaphors, and as well as we also do physical activities. So let me give you just a sample of the music. Now, if anybody out there listening likes this music, that's not good. That means the kids won't like it. We did something radical in Why Try. We said we're going to make sure the child is motivated by what we're doing. So here's a song that goes with tearing off labels here. So imagine you've been carrying labels your whole life. We've walked through the process of tearing these labels off. I'll just play a quick song here for you.
A label can be good or bad, it just depends if it comes from society or real friends. And if you don't like them, you can take them off. And if they've been on too long, you could break them off. Cause all white people ain't racist, and no all blacks ain't got the same faces. We won't feel compassion if we remain faceless. Gotta deal with the past so we can erase this. And I know we can't help it, but it's the one thing that we really need help with. We too selfish, and we don't wanna step out the comfort zone. Cause it's not comfort when my pain is what your comfort zone. We shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Arrest, convict the judge, crooks by their color. Cause our hearts all work the same. A shame that we all don't hurt the same. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. I remember like it was yesterday. Then I paused for a second. Was it just a day? Now it's only yesterday. And it's so hard to say goodbye to my guy, and I really know the reason why. I used to want to be just like him, he had it all. The grades, the girls, beautiful pictures on the wall, and a personality that was flawless. Really no choice but to succeed when having all this. Two parents at home, college scouts on the phone. Even in the midst of crowds, he would feel alone. And I never understood till I got the call. It's too much pressure, I'm ending it all. I said, man, that ain't the thing to do, cause there's a lot of people that would kill to be you. He just said, yeah, I bet, but I haven't even been me yet. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. Maybe I'm not as smart as the other kids. Maybe I'll end up doing what my brother did. Cause that's how they all see me anyway. I'm a failure, so it'll happen any day. I didn't choose to be who I am. Put your feet in my shoes, you'll see who I am. I'm not a thug cause I live in the hood. I got hopes and dreams to live a life that's good. But don't hand me a ball or a mic, thinking since I'm black, that's all that I like. I will not be limited by my color. The content of my character is more to discover. Cause I can feel the allegory of the cave and make it relevant and spin the story of a slave. Cause I am destiny. You speak to the worst, I speak to the best of me. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels. You are greater than the words you hear, greater than the things you fear. It's not clear now, but one day you'll be able to break free and tear off the labels.
All right. And then in the curriculum, we have discussion questions that tie into the music, like that line in there where he says, I haven't been me yet. So the counselors, teachers, and so on can talk to the kids about themes in that music. So there's discussion questions. And then, like I said, then we have several physical activities that reinforce each one of these visual metaphors. For example, one quick experiential activity we'll do with this one is we'll take a can of lima beans. Why lima beans? You can throw them away. And we'll put a blank label on the outside of the can. We'll fill up the inside of the can with Starburst, and then we'll crazy glue the lid back on the bottom of the can so you can't tell it's been tampered with. And then on one side of the can, we'll have the students write all their strengths. Then we'll have them write their negative labels. And then we'll physically have them tear off their negative labels. We'll have them rip them into 100 pieces. I've seen kids with tears streaming down their eyes as they stomp on these labels. I've seen kids spit out the labels even. They always pull out their lighters. They want to burn the labels. I'm like, we can't do that. I have a huge box of lighters now because of that. But anyways, we destroyed the label. And then I'll hand them a can opener. I'll say, be really careful as you open up this can. And then on the inside of the can is the Starburst. And they're like, how the crap did you get Starburst in that can? And I'll say, look, the Starburst represent the real you. Our outward actions and behaviors put these labels on us, but that's not the real you. And so they physically experience something, they visually see it, and then they hear it in music. And we kind of follow that formula with all of the visual metaphors now. I want to play a little video clip for you now that kind of shows you some of our more experiential hands-on activities. I'll play this for you real fast, kind of give you a little 50-second overview here. So all of our curriculum is online. I'll just show you where our experiential activities look like kind of online, how we have them laid out for people to use. If I pull up that slide here of our physical activities here, we have kind of, it's all online, and you can see kind of what that looks like here. Let's pull this up here for you here. There we go. And so here's just a few of our activities you can see there on the left. We kind of broke our activities down into 3 different areas. We have an object lesson activity, a group activity, and a movement kind of / group activity. And you can see like a $20 decision. So we have the type of activity it is, the space you need, the grade appropriateness for the activity, and the amount of time that it would take to do the activity. You can see when the kids were kind of stepping on those lids there, that goes with that one down there, the keys to staying on track there. And so when you click on it, it pulls up kind of all the details and the requirements and the things that you would need for that activity, the materials. Like here's a little clip of that right there. You can see here. I'll pull up here for you.
Yeah, if anybody jumps, come in and.
So we're just kind of skipping through it. You can see these slides kind of walk you through step by step what you would need to run the activity, a little video clip that goes with it as well. And so like I say, we just follow this formula over and over again where the child visually sees it, they hear it in music, they physically do it. So let's just go back out to the... So in Why Try we have 3 R's that we emphasize. There's the first R is the relationship. About 80% of change in a child's life is going to come from a relationship. We know human beings are motivated by other human beings. And Why Try, we teach something called surrendering the one-up relationship. We wanted to know, why does a kid behave for one teacher or counselor, act out for another one? And we literally been able to pinpoint the X factor is the ability to surrender the one-up relationship. Many kids feel one down in the relationship. They'll see the teacher, the judge, the probation officer way up here, and they often feel one down. And we have a whole bunch of strategies on how to surrender that one-up relationship where the child knows they have value and worth, whether they succeed or whether they fail. For example, as a therapist, how I surrender the one-up relationship is when kids come into my office, I have a metal folding chair and I have a nice leather chair. And I always let the kids sit in the leather chair. and just to kind of surrender that one-up relationship. And I'll sit in the metal folding chair. It just kind of communicates to them, hey, you have tremendous value to me. You have tremendous worth to me. And so like I said, we have over 100 strategies on how to surrender this one-up relationship. So that's the first R. The second R is relevancy. Is the intervention relevant to the child? And that's why you see us use this kind of multi-sensory, multimedia delivery system where the child visually sees it, they hear it in music, they physically do it. And that's why that relevancy is so important. Why we'll use everything from music videos. Now, also with these metaphors here, we have a lot of art activities. I'll say, draw me a picture of what life is like with these labels. Draw me a picture of what life would be like without these labels. Create a collage about that. Write poetry about that. You could even create a skit about that. So we use as much of the arts as we possibly can to reinforce the metaphor, to make it relevant for the student. And then the last R, which I want to spend kind of the rest of the time talking about here, is on the last 5-6 minutes here, is resiliency, is the third R. You know, where does the inner motivation come from to not give up, to put one foot in front of another? So those are the three R's: the relationship, relevancy, resiliency. So let me share with you, actually, I just spent the last 4 years writing a book on resilience, where resilience comes from, where resilience is born. I got a little frustrated. I had read lots of books that told me the attributes of resilience, like hard work, determination, perseverance. But I wanted to know, where does resiliency come from? Where does resiliency come from within? When you have every reason to give up, what's going to cause someone to put one foot in front of another? And one of the tools that we have focused on to help people access resilience is to be able to tap into both their positive and negative emotions. I don't know about y'all, but I have negative emotions. I woke up this morning and I'm like, man, my hairline's receding more. I'm getting shorter, fatter, goofier. But I said, because of that, today I'm going to try to give a better speech. I'm going to try to be a better husband, a better father. The ability to take the negative emotions that I feel and use them as a reason to become greater, it gives you a huge resiliency advantage. Most people are socialized most of their life to only focus on positive self-talk, positive emotions, maximize that. And I believe you should totally do that. You should put as much energy as you can into positive emotions, but in reality, we have both positive and negative emotions. And if we can channel both of those in productive ways, our resiliency is greatly increased. So when I'm talking to youth, one way we explain this is we use a picture like this of a battery, and I'll say, look, can you charge a battery with just a positive connection? The battery is not going to charge with just a positive connection. Could you charge a battery with just a negative connection? The battery wouldn't charge. It's the combination of the positive and negative. And, throughout my life, there were lots of times in my life where I didn't have a lot of positive emotion, where I felt happy or peace or motivated or optimism. But being raised in a home where both my parents had mental health issues, I had something called reactive attachment disorder. For me to be resilient, I had to figure out what to do with my anger, my fear, my sadness, my loneliness, depression, to be able to learn how to create a productive outcome with the emotions on the right there. It gave me a huge resilience advantage. Now, ideally, you want to be able to access both your positive and negative emotions, but so many of these kids, most of their emotions they're feeling oftentimes are very negative emotions. And I think it's so important that we show them how to take these emotions and create positive energy, create a productive outcome with our negative emotions. Because of time, I'm giving you a real Reader's Digest version of this. It's much more complex than I even begin to have time to share, but I just wanted to plant that seed. And then what we do is, once they understand that the human condition is we're made up of both positive and negative emotions, the next question is, what's going to motivate us to channel our emotions, whether they're positive or negative? And we identified 4 places that resiliency comes from, where resiliency is born. We call it relational resilience, street resilience, resource resilience, and rock bottom resilience. In the last minute and a half, I'll give you kind of a Reader's Digest version. Relational resilience just means that your greatest motivation to not give up is the knowledge that others need you or depend on you. These are my 2 boys right here, Cooper and Carson. If I never got invited to speak again, I would go work at 4 different McDonald's because these 2 kids are dependent upon me. It could be if you're a teacher, it could be for the students in your classroom. we know human beings are motivated by other human beings. So one of the things that causes people to be resilient, where the inner motivation comes from, is because another human being needs us. If you want to increase your resilience, have an extra 10 people need you this year, and you're much more likely to push through life's difficulties. You draw strength from the emotional support of others. You realize that your greatest power comes from human connection. Mama Jackson that I referred to a few minutes ago was definitely one of those relationships for me. Another place resiliency comes from is something we call, pull it up here, we call street resilience. And that just means you take the pain of disrespect, social inequality, and mistakes and use it as fuel to propel you forward. It could be any type of disrespect. It could be your ears are too big, your teeth aren't white enough. You use any type of disrespect. Now, I was told I couldn't go to college because of my learning disabilities, but I literally use that as a fuel source because people told me I couldn't go to college with a 6th grade math level, a 7th grade reading and writing level. I use that as a reason to stay in school, to turn in my homework, to study sometimes 50 hours for a test that my peers were studying maybe 3 to 5 hours for. And so you use any type of disrespect. And anybody that works with kids know that many times these kids feel tremendous disrespect. And to be able to show them how to take that disrespect and channel it in productive ways is so important. You direct your hurt and anger towards a cause rather than an individual. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers would be an example of that. Nelson Mandela is a powerful example of street resilience. Rosa Parks refusing to sit on the back of the bus is a powerful example of street resilience. And so anyway, so we've identified these 4 places where the inner motivation comes from to not give up, to put one foot in front of another. And then in the book, The Resilience Breakthrough, we have 27 specific tools on how to access these 4 sources of resilience, how to maximize, 27 tools for turning adversity into action. And so, like I say, at the conference, I'm so excited about there in Minneapolis, I'll have much more time to go into depth about where this inner motivation comes from to not give up. And just like with Why Try, we teach, we have strategies and visual metaphors on how to teach where this inner motivation comes from to not give up. And you can see some of the metaphors that we use, and we kind of follow the same formula that we do with Why Try. Is how we teach street resiliency, and then resource resiliency, and then rock bottom resilience. And I'm excited to come to the conference here in October and share with you guys what we're doing across this country and how we're teaching social and emotional education using more of a kind of a multi-sensory approach where everything we do, they visually see it, they hear it in music, they physically do it. I look forward to seeing everybody at the conference. I love people who teach experiential and use experiential learning in what they do. I think that is literally the greatest way to retain and learn information. Look forward to the conference. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Christian. That was a wonderful presentation. I really am intrigued by this audio, visual, relevant, really engaging approach to working with these students, and look forward to hearing more about it in October.
See you then. I can't wait. We'll have a blast.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.